St. Thomas University Digital Journalism and New Media present.
Welcome to this week's Basement Files. I'm Jamie Humphrey.
And I'm Erin Sousa. Here are today's top stories. Protesters gathered at the legislature to support Indigenous fishers from Nova Scotia. The COVID-19 pandemic forced many businesses to close shortly after opening. But the pandemic didn't stop youngsters from filling their sweet tooth.
Over 100 people gathered at the provincial legislature on October 22nd to support Indigenous fishers from Nova Scotia. They have faced pushback from non-Indigenous fishers for over a month. Jessica Johnson has the story.
On September 17th, members of the Sabanagadi First Nation launched their own self-regulated fishery. Since then, they have faced violence, threats, and destruction of physical property from the non-Indigenous fishing community because of disputes over the lobster fishing season and the amount of lobster they can harvest. Amanda Myran lives in Fredericton, but wanted to do her part in showing support for the Indigenous fishers.
It's vitally important to have the event here because we are on WOODSTOCK homelands, and the WOODSTOCK Nation is part of the Wabanaki Confederacy, and it was really important to stand shoulder to shoulder with our Mi'kmaq relatives.
Myran says that footage of the violence happening in Nova Scotia has been jarring to watch. In one of the videos, you can see a non-Indigenous protester assaulting an Indigenous elder.
To my knowledge, there was a success yesterday where the Mi'kmaq got an injunction to prevent further violence. So I'm hoping that will help with some of those tensions in that front. But the larger call is to uphold the treaty rights and responsibilities that have been here since Canada was formed.
Speakers at the event included Fredericton MP Jenica Atwin, as well as elders and scholars from the Indigenous community. They used the platform to peacefully educate the public on Indigenous history and the racism that still exists today. Graduate student Maria DeCarla was one of the many that came out to show support.
There's power in numbers coming out and supporting not only the Mi'kmaq fishers in Nova Scotia, but in general we've got a real issue here with racism, and it's becoming all the more important that people are showing up.
Earlier this week, Sterling Beliveau, a former politician in southwestern Nova Scotia, suggested a one-year pause on the Mi'kmaq fishery until negotiations finish. But Chief Michael Sack of Sabanagadi First Nation rejected this idea, saying that quitting is not in our blood. For St. Thomas Journalism, I'm Jessica Johnson.
The COVID-19 pandemic has had a significant impact on businesses in the province. A franchise restaurant in downtown Fredericton opened its doors just 2 months before the virus came to town. Jessica Saunier reports.
Downtown Fredericton restaurant, St. Louis Bar and Grill, opened its doors on January 20th. The restaurant is located at 280 King Street and is a franchise sports bar. St. Louis has the atmosphere any sports fan would want to surround themselves with. Fans can watch their favorite team play on one of their 9 flat-screen TVs. When the restaurant first opened, it experienced a tremendous amount of support. During the first few nights of opening, the waitlist reached over an hour. 2 months later, they were forced to close their doors due to federal regulations. While the restaurant was closed, the option for customers to do takeout helped the employees keep working. St. Louis decided to partner with Skip the Dishes to ensure more orders.
We were doing takeout before, just not Skip the Dishes, so we were kind of knowing that we were going to set it up, but when we did close for the pandemic, it really pushed us to start focusing on that.
The restaurant opened back up during the May long weekend. COVID-19 protocols were put into place all throughout the establishment. These changes included arrows on the floors, plexiglass installed between each booth, limited seating, and most recently, movable walls placed between tables. After reopening, it didn't take long for customers to start visiting again.
We had great support from the community and we were crazy busy. I believe the numbers would show that we were even busier after COVID than we were before.
Moving into the summer months, it was easier to keep business alive with their 2 patios.
Our numbers again were through the roof. Due to the other half of the building not being leased out for the summer, we were able to boost the capacity for our patio, so that helped us a lot for getting customers back and boosting sales as well.
The restaurant is proud of how successful they've kept up after reopening, although they do see a decline in business happening within the upcoming months. For now, St. Louis is the hot spot in downtown Fredericton for friends to get together. Reporting for St. Thomas Journalism, this is Jessica Saunier. Lincoln Community School hosted its first trunk-or-treat event this year. It allowed students to have a safe and COVID-friendly Halloween experience. Reporter Grace Hickey went to find out more.
Excited students gather in the parking lot of Lincoln School to collect candy from parent volunteers, who are handing out everything from handmade marshmallow ghosts to Halloween toys and treats.
This is the first annual trunk or treat at Lincoln Elementary, and previously for Halloween they've celebrated Spooktacular, which obviously due to COVID this year they weren't able to do that, so they decided to come up with this lovely outdoor event.
There was about 20 vehicles in total, with decorated trunks for the students to visit. Students came outdoors with their individual bubbles, maintaining physical distancing, and trunk-or-treating in a fun and safe way with their peers.
Kids can go to all of the different trunks and you decorate the back of your trunk, and it's just like a fun thing that kids can do, and it keeps them socially distanced.
Callahan's trunk and costume were inspired by her children, who are students at the school and big fans of the Nintendo game Super Mario.
And actually I love it too. I'm a big nerd and my family's all gamers, so had to go with Nintendo.
Students said they were happy to have a chance to celebrate Halloween with their friends and hope that trunk or treat becomes a new tradition that will continue on next year. For Stu Journalism, this is Grace Hickey.
This Remembrance Day is the 102nd anniversary of the armistice that signaled the end to the First World War. As New Brunswickers gather to remember the fallen, some much-needed work on a local memorial is complete. The stone cenotaph in Barker's Point on Fredericton's north side was refurbished this year thanks to Veterans Affairs Canada. The City of Fredericton received $7,400 from the organization to fix up the monument. It also moved to a more favorable spot at the corner of Waters Drive and Carman Avenue, not too far from Barker's Point School. The request came from the local Legion after complaints saying it was hard to access. Work on the site even included landscaping around trees, new brick pathways, and planting new shrubs and oak trees.
The transition to online learning has not only had an effect on professors to change their classes, but also on students adapting to a new learning environment. I checked in with a first-year university student to see how things are going. When Renee Humphrey found out her first year of university was going to be online, she was hesitant to attend. After a lot of thought and consideration, she decided to give it a go. Humphrey says she makes sure to set her alarm and wash her face every morning to take on the day. Her daily planner keeps track of more than 5 hours of schoolwork, and a decorated workspace helps to stay motivated. And on top of a 1-hour lunch break, Humphrey also goes on drives to help clear her mind. Humphrey says she is glad she decided to attend school online and hopes to get the full in-person experience next year.
Science East holds a Halloween Day every year. This year, they stretched it into 3 days due to COVID-19 restrictions. Here's Hannah Rutterham with more on their spooky sci-fi.
Decked in Halloween decorations, Science East on Brunswick Street has science-y exhibits with free admission for members. Masks are required at all times inside Science East. Exhibits like magnetic iron filaments, light bulbs, and a micro-eye magnifying glass make up the main and upper floor. Kids were encouraged to dress up, and even the employees at Science East dressed up, including Communications Officer KAITLYN TUFF.
Our decorations, the ones that were very hands-on, we had to omit this year, but we have all the exciting things and we've moved everything upwards.
Exhibits like the rock climbing area are closed due to COVID-19. Exhibits that are still open on the second floor include the nail chairs and Newton's cradle.
My favorite exhibit is the Jacob's Ladder just around the corner. I think it's fantastic to actually watch the electricity shooting up over and over again. That's not something that you get to see in a regular environment.
The main floor is also home to the Quartermain Earth Science Center, filled with displays of rocks and minerals. There's also a gift shop with t-shirts and science-related toys. While the upper floors are bright and colorful, with some rooms even decked out in fairy lights, the bottom floor is dark, gray, and dives into the history of jails and inmates. This includes an inmate timeline, a whodunit game, info on segregation cells where prisoners would go for a timeout, and the point of no return. On the day of execution, once prisoners walked through this door, there was no coming back. So I guess it's time for me to head out. This has been Hannah Rutterham for Stu Journalism.
This flu season is a little different than most, with many people worrying about the common cold and COVID-19. Morgan Bell shares what it's like to be sick in these uncertain times.
Sadly, it is that time of year. It's the time of year where Kleenex is on your weekly grocery list, noses become red and chapped, cold medicine is a must, and voices are raspy. And in case you can't tell by my puffy, saggy eyes and all swaddled up in a blanket, I definitely fall into this category. Having a daughter in daycare, I expected to get sick as soon as flu season arrived, but this year I was dreading it more than usual. With the majority of people fearing COVID, sneezing, coughing, and complaining about headaches is now a scare to some. I knew that I had a sinus infection as soon as it hit. I ran to the store and stocked up on all the necessities. And, of course, I had to do the classic 3-hour wait to see a doctor for some antibiotics. The only good thing about being sick is that I get to stock up on my 2 favorite foods, ice cream and soup. Other than that, it pretty much sucks. Luckily, I have the love and support of my family to help me beat this cold. Mommy's not feeling good. Yeah, I'm not feeling good. Thank you. It's frowned upon to be seen in public when sick now, even though you know it's not the coronavirus. People still fear being near you. So I've been staying home with my pup all day while doing schoolwork. My partner, Mike Lord, voiced his concerns.
My only concern is everyone's going to freak out and everyone's going to get sick and all think they got COVID, and then they're going to shut everything down again just because people are feeling ill.
Lots of places are offering free flu shots this year, so I highly recommend getting it done to avoid being like me and being shunned from the public. I am Morgan Bell with St. Thomas Journalism. Stay safe and stay healthy.
COVID-19 may have caused a halt for many businesses, but a Fredericton entrepreneur used this time to kick off her charcuterie business. St. Thomas Journalism's Summer Arsenault got a taste of the story.
22-year-old local Maeve McNutt launched Curated 6 weeks ago, delivering charcuterie and graving boxes directly to your door on Fridays and Saturdays. Created at Greener Village, McNutt, alongside her family, assembles the boxes. The boxes begin with a variety of cheeses, homemade jams and honey, and crackers, followed by assortments of meat. They add color with fresh fruit such as berries, grapes, figs, and golden berries, chocolate sweets, and edible flowers to garnish. They aim to purchase all ingredients locally. McNutt has always enjoyed creating boards at home, but the pandemic inspired her to share this passion.
When we were on lockdown, obviously nobody could go out to eat, and we kind of missed that experience, so we wanted to figure out a way to kind of get a little taste of luxury at home.
The ingredients differ weekly, but come with a page stating what is in your box and offer pairings to try. The final touches get added, and name tags personalize each box. McNutt makes charcuterie more convenient for those on the go.
I'm a really busy person, so I love to be able to host, but I don't always necessarily have the time to have a put together event and be able to have people over and be fully prepared for it. So this way I'm able to order a box in advance, even if it's weeks or months ahead of time.
You can purchase 4 options of boxes: the date night, the evening inn, the big box, or a custom order. Have a large event coming up or a girls' wine night? Curated offers all sizes. McNutt's goal is to change the stereotypical view of charcuterie.
There's kind of this idea that charcuterie is a little bit pretentious, or that certain things need to be paired with other things, or that there's a correct way to do that. And it was really important to me to kind of get away from that a little bit, because I think at the end of the day, it's just really important that people enjoy what they're eating.
She believes it's about the experience of sharing the box with someone else.
Craving a treat delivered directly to your door? Check out their website or socials to see what's in their upcoming boxes. This is Summer Arsenault reporting for STU Journalism.
COVID-19 has affected many people, especially aging populations and the immunocompromised. Alicia Barrera shared her experience with STU Journalism's Ariana Calvachi on how the pandemic has affected her.
In Quito, Ecuador, elderly people face the greatest risk in the pandemic. Most families have opted not to visit their relatives, especially if they're over 60.
Yo soy sumamente independiente y a mí me gusta depender de muchas cosas por mí misma.
I'm extremely independent, and I had to change my daily routine to adjust to the pandemic. The first months of quarantine were so hard, I felt lonely most of the times. And I was so sad that I couldn't spend this difficult time with my family. After months of being by herself, Alicia Barrera was able to come visit her family. She injured her back at the beginning of September. Also, she presented heart arrhythmias and low blood pressure, so she had to be accompanied until her health improves.
Sí, hemos estado comunicándonos, todos tenemos la misma opinión, que es un poco difícil.
To keep myself busy, I watch TV and sometimes talk to my friends over the phone. It's always nice to know how they are doing and what they've been up to. For the elderly, going out is not an option. Alicia enjoys herself with the little things, like the sun and being able to walk in the garden for small periods of time.
Cuidar la salud de mi mami, pues...
We don't go out much. Even if it's allowed by the government, we try to stay in and avoid getting my mother sick. I'm glad I can spend some time with her. We all agree to keep her safe. Alicia knows it's a risk to visit her other daughters, but for now she hangs on to hope for better days.
Ha sido la ayuda de mi familia, de mis hijas, de mis nietas.
The love of my family has been fundamental. I hope that for the holidays I will be able to get together with my family once again. I really miss them. They are what keeps my soul young. With the holidays around the corner, many Ecuadorians wonder as Alicia if they will get to see their loved ones. For St. Thomas Journalism, this is Ariana Calvachi.
Halloween looked a little different this year, but it didn't stop St. Thomas University students from helping their community. Reporter Shannon Nickerson has the story about this yearly tradition.
Okay. This is Shannon Nickerson for STU Journalism. Tonight, I'll be following around a group of trick-or-eaters to see how many donations we can gather. Happy trick-or-eat! Yet again this year, students gathered during Halloween to help collect food donations. The event was hosted by the St. Thomas Student Union, who provided routes and bags for students to use.
They collect non-perishable food items door to door, and then those proceeds go back to the STU Food Bank in Greener Village, which is the food bank here in Fredericton.
Unfortunately, this year things have been a little different. Turnout was low, but morale was high. Students had a blast in their costumes, and I followed around the group to see how the community would react to these trick-or-eaters. The spooky spirit was strong, and so was the spirit of charity.
Definitely we've got some limited numbers because there's not that many people on campus, but nonetheless I still think we're going to collect a good amount of food and make a good donation to the food banks in the area.
There were no bare bones donations. Plenty of houses had goods to give.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Good luck tonight.
Thank
you.
Have a great night. There was also the problem of contact. Some houses simply left out candy bowls, so students couldn't approach the house to ask for donations. Others got a little more creative with their distribution, like this candy shoot.
Thank you so much. Have a good night. Have an excellent night. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for...
It should always be ready because every year it's passing.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's good.
Ready?
Yeah.
This house helped keep their distance with the witch's staff. By the end of the night, their bags were full. Another successful year of trick-or-eating. This is Shannon Nickerson for Stu Journalism, signing off.
It was a windy afternoon outside the Air Motor Center, and as the sun began to set, a night full of treats and scares would be underway. Trick-or-treating had been canceled in Woodstock because of COVID, so the Woodstock Rotary Club partnered with the town itself to create the free haunted drive-thru as a safe alternative for kids and parents alike. Families stayed in their cars as they drove along a guided path. They got a bag full of treats on a pizza platter. Then, they would be released into the scare zone in groups, before being directed out of the parking lot and onto the road. Many of the treats and decor were provided by the community. The Rotary Club was glad to receive the support. Rotary Club member Corey Clark knows the sense of relief it provided to the town.
I think the biggest comment we received, as well as others, is people in the community weren't quite sure about people coming door to door, especially their door. So that when they were dropping the treats off to the Air Motor Center, they actually commented that they were quite happy that this event was taking place.
It began at 3:30 with a sensory-friendly experience for very young children. From 4 until 7, it was fun and spooky for younger children. Yet as the full moon rose, a chill took over the drive-thru as it scared and frightened those who dare enter. The characters who wandered the drive-thru now screamed and stalked the cars, hoping to creep out the older kids inside. Haunting decor, flashing lights, and large video displays worked in unison to make the drive-thru live up to its haunted claim. From the start all the way until the final hour, cars were lined up. For Rotary Club President Scott Dunlop, the turnout was better than he could have imagined.
It's been an amazing turnout. We don't even know how many people for sure, but a lot of vehicles had 4 or 5 or 6 people in them. It's just something to see.
The haunted drive-thru was an overwhelming success, but more importantly, provided a safe Halloween for everyone. Reporting from Woodstock, I'm DECLAN, St. Thomas University, Journalism.
Well, that wraps up this week's Basement Files. If you miss a newscast, find us on our website. For St. Thomas Journalism, I'm Jamie Humphrey.
And I'm Myran. Join us again in 2 weeks.